All right, so you're getting ready for a Tram Controller interview.
Yeah.
And, well, that's a pretty unique job, right? Keeping a whole city moving. So today we're going to take a deep dive into all the resources that RoleCatcher has to make sure that when you walk into that interview, you just absolutely nail it. We'll be like your interview prep team.
Okay.
We'll cover some of those classic Tram Controller interview questions, sprinkle in some career insights from the RoleCatcher Career Guide, and we'll even show you how RoleCatcher's AI can help give you an extra edge.
Yeah, it's like a practice run for your brain. We'll break down what interviewers are really looking for, help you brainstorm some amazing answers, and make sure you avoid any of those interview pitfalls.
All right, so first things first, let's talk about what a Tram Controller actually does day to day. The RoleCatcher Career Guide says they're responsible for the smooth operation of tram services, ensuring both passenger safety and satisfaction. So, I mean, juggling those tram schedules, driver coordination, keeping everything running like a well-oiled machine.
It really is a lot like conducting an orchestra, you know? But instead of instruments, you're coordinating trams full of people. And just like a conductor needs to keep an eye on every section, the tram controller needs to be aware of everything that's happening across the entire network.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the heart of our deep dive today, those interview questions. Now, RoleCatcher has given us 10 sample questions that we think are super likely to pop up in your interview. Are you ready to tackle them?
Let's do it.
Okay, so question number 1. What inspired you to pursue a career as a tram controller? Now, this one might seem simple, but it's a great chance to make yourself stand out.
Yeah, and don't just say, I like trains. You really want to think about what resonates with you about this job. Is it the challenge of keeping such a complex system running smoothly? The fast-paced environment? Or maybe it's the fact that you're having a direct impact on how a city functions.
I love that. Or maybe you've always been fascinated by, like, the logistics of public transportation, or drawn to a role that combines technical expertise and working with people.
Yeah, and you know what? Adding a personal touch can go a long way, too. Maybe you have a childhood memory of riding the trams with your family. Or you've seen how important reliable transportation is for a community to function. Sharing a little piece of your personal story can make your answer much more memorable.
I love that. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really give you an edge. You can actually use it to tailor your answer to the specific company and the specific role you're interviewing for. Just input the job description, and their AI will highlight the keywords you can use in your response. It shows that you've done your research and you understand what they need.
It's like having a personalized cheat sheet, but in a good way.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to question 2. Describe your experience working in a fast-paced and high-pressure environment. Now, with this one, they're trying to see if you can handle the heat.
Exactly. So think about a time when you had to make a quick decision. Stay calm, think on your feet. It doesn't even have to be about trams. Maybe you worked in a busy restaurant, a call center. Maybe you organized a big event, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I bet you've got tons of stories from your event planning days.
Oh, definitely. But for our listener, the key is to really paint a picture for the interviewer. Describe the situation, what challenges you faced, what actions you took, and of course, what was the positive outcome?
Absolutely, and be specific. Instead of just saying, I handle a lot of calls, you could say something like, I managed an average of 50 calls per hour troubleshooting technical issues. And while doing all of that, I still maintained a 95% customer satisfaction rating.
Yeah, exactly. Because those kinds of quantifiable results really show the interviewer that you can handle the pressure, and even better, that you can thrive in it. And guess what? RoleCatcher's AI can even analyze your answer and suggest ways to make it even stronger. They'll make it more specific or more results-oriented.
All right, question number 3. This one says, what do you believe are the most important qualities for a tram controller to possess? So this one is all about showcasing that you understand the ins and outs of this role.
It's all about hitting those core competencies. So think strong communication skills, because you're going to be coordinating with drivers and passengers. Problem solving, because there will be delays and incidents. And you always have to have a laser focus on safety.
For sure. And the ability to stay calm under pressure. I mean, you are responsible for the well-being of sometimes thousands of passengers.
You got it. You really want to drive this point home by saying something like, for me, a tram controller needs unwavering dedication to safety, clear communication, and the ability to think critically and make sound decisions, especially in unexpected situations.
Okay, so this seems like a good time to bring in one of the career insights from the RoleCatcher Career Guide. They mention how important continuous learning and professional development are in this field. I think that would be a great thing to add to your answer.
Oh, for sure. Emphasize how committed you are to staying up to date on new technologies and best practices. It shows that you're invested in your own growth and the advancement of the industry.
Totally. Okay, so question number 4. Can you describe your experience with operating and maintaining tram control systems? Now, this is where they're going to dig into your technical know-how.
Right. If you have direct experience with systems like, oh, I don't know, mention common tram control system,
Yeah.
which, to be clear, explains function of tram control system. Now this is your time to shine. Be specific about what tasks you performed and what skills you picked up.
But what if you're switching careers and you don't have that direct tram experience?
That's okay. You can leverage transferable skills.
Oh.
So if you've worked with other complex systems, maybe in manufacturing or logistics or even IT, highlight how those skills can be used in this role. Focus on your adaptability and your ability to grasp new technologies.
Right, because being a quick learner is so important. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you identify those transferable skills and use them to craft a strong answer, one that showcases your potential. Question number 5. It says, how would you handle a situation where a tram is delayed due to an unexpected incident? So this one is all about problem solving on the fly.
It's like a mini case study. So think of a scenario. Maybe there's a power outage, something's blocking the tracks, anything that could disrupt the service, and just walk the interviewer through your response step by step.
So you would assess the situation first, right?
Yeah.
You figure out the cause, how long it's going to take to fix.
Yeah, and then communication is key. You've got to inform the passengers and give them clear updates, coordinate with drivers and maintenance teams, and even collaborate with other tram controllers to adjust the schedule and minimize disruptions.
And of course, safety is the #1 priority.
Of course.
All your actions should put the well-being of passengers and staff first.
This is another chance to highlight those soft skills. Clear communication, empathy, staying calm, being reassuring, even in a really stressful situation.
And hey, don't forget about RoleCatcher's video practice tool. You can actually record yourself answering this question. And their AI will analyze your delivery and give you feedback on things like body language and clarity.
Like having a personal coach, but no awkward high fives.
Exactly. Okay, on to question number 6. Can you provide an example of a time when you had to make a split-second decision in a crisis situation? So they're really bringing the pressure with this one.
So think of a time when you had to act fast, even when you didn't have all the information. It doesn't even have to be work-related. Maybe you had to respond quickly during a medical emergency. Or you were traveling and had to navigate a tricky situation.
Yeah, the key is to highlight how you assessed the situation, thought about your options, and then chose the best course of action, while staying calm and thinking clearly under pressure.
You could say something like, I was hiking with some friends and one of them had a really bad fall. I quickly looked at the situation, kept their leg from moving, and called for help. And all the while, I was making sure they stayed calm and felt safe.
That's a great example. And remember, it's okay to talk about the challenges you faced. It shows that you're honest and willing to learn from your experiences.
Totally. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you structure your answer in a way that highlights those key elements that interviewers are looking for. You know the situation, the action, the outcome, and what you learned from it all.
All right, number 7. How do you ensure that all safety protocols and regulations are followed in your role as a tram controller? So this one is all about showing that you understand safety procedures and are committed to sticking to them.
They want to know that you're a stickler for the rules. In a good way, of course.
Yeah, you're not just knowing the rules. You're creating a whole culture of safety. You can talk about doing regular safety audits, which are basically briefly explain safety audits, or implementing ongoing training programs for the drivers.
Yeah, and it's about having a solid system in place for reporting any potential issues. You want to show that you're proactive when it comes to safety, always looking for ways to improve.
And this ties in perfectly with another one of the insights from the RoleCatcher Career Guide. They emphasize strong communication skills for a tram controller.
Right, because clear communication is so important when it comes to making sure everyone is on the same page, especially when it comes to safety. You want to build a culture where everyone feels safe reporting potential problems and contributing to a safe work environment.
Okay, question number 8. How do you prioritize and manage multiple tasks and responsibilities in your role as a tram controller? This one is all about those organizational superpowers.
Tram controllers are basically master jugglers. So think of a time when you had to manage a bunch of competing priorities, maybe in a project management role or even organizing a big event.
Yeah, you want to really walk them through your process. Like, how do you prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance? How do you use tools like scheduling software or a to-do list? And are you good at delegating tasks when needed?
Exactly. And don't just say that you're organized. Give them specific examples of how you stay on top of things. Maybe you use a color-coded system for deadlines, or you created a streamlined process for your team's workflow.
Love that. And RoleCatcher's AI can give you feedback on your answer, helping you with the structure, clarity, and level of detail. On to question number 9. What steps do you take to ensure that all staff members are properly trained and informed about their responsibilities and procedures? Now, this one is about building a strong team.
It's about leadership. So think about how you would approach training and communication. Maybe a buddy system for new drivers, regular safety briefings, clear and accessible online resources for all the procedures.
And that open communication is key. You want your team to feel comfortable coming to you with questions or feedback.
Absolutely. You could say something like, to make sure everyone is comfortable and in the loop, I would create a multifaceted training program with clear and easy to understand materials, regular check-ins, and open communication channels.
And remember, a good leader empowers their team. So highlight your ability to foster collaboration and help people grow. Okay, last but not least, question number 10. How do you stay up to date on the latest transportation technologies and best practices? They want to know if you're passionate about the industry and committed to being a lifelong learner.
Yeah, this is your chance to shine. Talk about the resources you use to stay informed. Industry conferences, publications, online forums, podcasts like this one.
Ooh, maybe you're interested in sustainable transportation or self-driving trams. Sharing your passions shows you're not just clocking in and out. You're really invested in the future of the field.
Totally. And you can even tie it back to career advancement. You could say staying up to date lets me bring new ideas to the table and work towards leadership roles where I can help shape the future of transportation.
That's a great way to show them you're thinking long-term, not just about this job, but about your entire career.
Exactly. And speaking of careers, don't forget about RoleCatcher's Career Compass feature. You can use it to explore related roles and industries based on what you're good at and what interests you. And it can even show you some career paths that you might not have even thought of.
All right, so we just tackled all 10 potential interview questions. How are you feeling?
Phew, I think we gave our listener a great foundation to build on. Now they can tackle those questions with confidence. But we're not done yet. There's still a lot more to cover. So let's keep the momentum going.
All right, so we covered a ton in that last section. But there's still so much more to being a tram controller, right? Remember that pros and cons section in the RoleCatcher Career Guide? I think it's a good time to take a look at that for some real-world insights.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's important. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the interview, but it's so important to make sure this is actually the right career for you.
Yeah.
Long-term.
Exactly. So the guide pointed out some amazing benefits. Strong job security, good salaries, room for growth. But it also mentioned the high-stress environment, working weird hours, and dealing with, well, let's just say, some not-so-happy passengers.
Yeah, that comes with the territory when you're dealing with the public, right? You're going to have days with delays, equipment malfunctions, people who are just not having a good commute. And you need to handle those situations with grace and professionalism, while still making sure the trams run smoothly and everyone is safe.
For sure. Which brings us to another key part of being a tram controller: leadership. It's not just about the trams. It's about leading a team of drivers, maintenance people, other staff.
Right. The RoleCatcher Career Guide talks about how important it is to show off those leadership qualities throughout your career. You got to take initiative, mentor others, show that you can manage and motivate a team.
And don't be afraid to highlight those skills in the interview, even if you haven't had a formal leadership title. I'm sure you've had to take charge, delegate tasks, or guide others as part of a team.
Yeah, for sure. So think of a time when you stepped up as a leader, even in a more casual setting, like a volunteer project or a school group, or even organizing a social event. Those experiences can really showcase your natural leadership abilities and your potential to do well in a supervisory role.
Okay, so before we get back to the interview questions, I wanted to highlight one of the coolest features I saw on RoleCatcher, the Get Discovered option.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a game changer, especially for job seekers.
It completely flips the script on the whole job hunting process. Instead of just submitting your resume and crossing your fingers, you create this amazing profile highlighting your skills and experience, and then you let employers who are actively searching find you.
Like having a personal headhunter working 24/7 just for you. It definitely increases your chances of getting noticed by the right people and landing your dream job.
I love it. Okay,
Okay.
ready for some more interview questions?
Yeah, bring them on.
All right, question number 6. Can you provide an example of a time when you had to deal with a difficult or upset passenger? All right, so this one is all about your conflict resolution and communication skills.
Definitely. And empathy is key here. You got to show the interviewer that you can understand the passenger's concerns, but you still have to stay calm and professional.
Exactly. It's not about just giving in to whatever they want. It's about finding a solution that de-escalates the situation and keeps things positive for everyone.
Right. So think of a time when you successfully dealt with a conflict. Maybe it was with a customer, a coworker, even a friend or family member.
Yeah, and really focus on the steps you took to listen actively, communicate clearly, and find common ground.
You could say something like, a customer was really upset about a late delivery. I took the time to listen to their concerns, apologize for the inconvenience, explained what we were doing to fix it, and offered them something to make up for the wait. They ended up leaving feeling heard and satisfied.
That's a great example. And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can even give you feedback on your response to this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it can suggest ways to really highlight your empathy, your communication skills, and your problem-solving abilities.
I like it.
All right, question 7 is a bit more technical. It says, describe a time you had to troubleshoot a technical issue related to. And then they'll probably give you a specific challenge related to tram operation.
Okay, so with this one, they're looking for your analytical thinking and how you approach problem solving. So think of a time when you had to deal with a technical glitch, a software crash, a hardware issue, maybe even just a piece of tech that just refused to work.
Yeah, and really walk them through your process. How did you figure out what the problem was? What steps did you take? Did you look things up, talk to other people, or just rely on your own knowledge?
And most importantly, how did you actually fix it? The interviewer wants to see that you have a system for troubleshooting, that you're resourceful, and that you don't give up when things get tricky.
Absolutely. A good answer here might be, I was working on a project and the software completely crashed, which meant we might miss our deadline. I immediately went to the system logs to see if I could find the error. I talked to a colleague to see if they had any ideas, and eventually we found a compatibility problem. We came up with a temporary solution, recovered the lost data, and managed to meet our deadline.
That's a great way to show off your technical skills and your ability to solve problems. And keep in mind that RoleCatcher can help you identify those transferable tech skills from other jobs and use them in your answers, even if you don't have direct experience with trams.
That's a great point. Okay, question 8 goes back to safety. What are some of the key safety protocols and regulations that a tram controller must adhere to?
All right, now's your chance to show off your commitment to safety. They want to know that you understand how important those regulations are and how you'll put them into practice.
Right. It's not enough to just say safety is important. You got to really show that, those protocols and how they relate to running the trams.
So think about things like speed limits, how the signals work, emergency braking, what to do if you need to evacuate passengers, how to communicate with drivers and other staff, and how to handle anything that's blocking the tracks.
Yeah, and it's also a good time to talk about how you stay up to date on the latest guidelines and regulations.
Right.
Show them you're proactive about safety.
You could say something like, I understand that things like sticking to the speed limit, using the signals correctly, and good communication are essential for keeping passengers safe. I'd also make sure to regularly review and update my knowledge on any safety rules and regulations, so I can always operate at the highest safety standards.
Perfect. And one more tip. If the job description mentions any specific regulations or protocols, be sure to reference those.
Good call.
Okay, question 9 brings in some data. How do you use data and analytics to improve tram service efficiency and reliability?
So tram controllers aren't just working in the moment. They're using data to analyze trends and make smart decisions to optimize the whole system.
Yeah, they want to know if you understand how to use data to make the trams run smoother, faster, and more efficiently.
Exactly. So think about things like passenger numbers, on-time performance, how often there are delays, even things like the weather and traffic conditions. How would you use all that info to improve the service, make better schedules, and prevent potential problems?
Yeah, you could talk about any experience you have with data analysis software, your ability to see trends in the data, and how comfortable you are using data to make decisions.
For example, you could say, by looking at the data on how many passengers are using the trams, I could see when the busiest times are, and then adjust how often the trams run to reduce wait times and overcrowding. I could also use data on delays to find problem areas, and work with the maintenance teams to fix those underlying issues.
Love it. All right, we've reached the 10th and final question.
Yeah.
What are your long-term career aspirations within the field of transportation?
Okay, so this one's about showing your ambition and that you're really committed to this industry. They want to know that you're not just looking for a job, but for a career path.
Yeah. And even if you don't have a super specific plan yet, you still want to express your enthusiasm for the field and your desire to learn, grow, and contribute to the future of transportation.
Do you see yourself moving into a leadership position? Maybe specializing in something like safety or operations, or even contributing to the development of brand new transportation technologies?
Yeah, you could say something like, I'm really excited to build a fulfilling career in transportation, and I see starting as a tram controller and the first step. I can't wait to learn and grow within the organization. And I'm especially interested in eventually specializing in, and then you can mention a specific area like safety management or sustainable transportation.
That's a great way to wrap up the interview on a high note, leaving the interviewer with a strong sense of your passion and dedication.
And don't forget, if you're feeling stuck on this question, you can always turn to RoleCatcher. Their Career Compass feature can help you explore different paths and see what opportunities there are.
So we just went through 10 detailed interview questions, some career insights, and we even looked at some of the cool features RoleCatcher has to offer. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think we've given our listeners a real advantage going into that interview.
Yeah, but we're not quite done yet. Let's wrap things up with some final thoughts and a bit of inspiration.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of tram controllers, I kind of want to leave you with a thought that goes beyond the technical skills and the interview prep.
Okay, yeah, I like where you're going with this.
We've talked about all the protocols and procedures, but what about the human element of this job?
Yeah.
Imagine you're sitting there in the tram controller's seat. You're not just managing a system, you're responsible for the safety and the well-being of all these people.
It's true, it's a big responsibility. And it definitely takes a certain type of person. A tram controller isn't just a technician. They're a guardian, a facilitator, a problem solver for a whole community of people who rely on the trams.
Exactly. Think about those everyday scenarios, right? You've got someone rushing to catch the tram for an important meeting, a parent trying to navigate a crowded platform with a stroller, an elderly person who needs a little extra help. These are the moments where your decisions, your actions, they have a direct impact on people's lives.
And that's where all those soft skills we talked about really come in. Empathy, clear communication, patience, staying calm under pressure. Those qualities are just as crucial as knowing the technical stuff when it comes to being a successful tram controller.
So while you're preparing for your interview, don't just focus on the technical side. Let your passion for serving your community really shine through. Talk about how committed you are to making sure every passenger has a safe and positive experience.
You're not just going for a job. You're starting a career that could make a real difference in people's lives.
And if you're feeling a bit nervous about the interview, remember RoleCatcher has got your back. Use their AI tools to refine your answers, practice your delivery, boost your confidence. They're like your personal cheer squad.
We're cheering for you too. Go into that interview and show them what you've got. Your skills, your passion, your dedication. You got this.
And one more thing, no matter what happens with this interview, this is just the beginning of your journey in the transportation world. Embrace the challenges, never stop learning, and always try to make a difference.
We hope this deep dive gave you the knowledge and the inspiration to navigate your career with confidence. Thanks for joining us.
And safe travels, everyone.